Lacey, you know, it takes nothing for me to sit in front of this camera and tell you how much of a critical thinker I am, how much of a well-reasoned, logical, rational thinker that I am. I have yet to meet anyone who doesn't really consider themselves a critical thinker in some regards. Anyone can say these things about themselves. It doesn't take much for me to sit in front of this camera and to tell you that I don't respect your philosophy, that I don't respect your beliefs or your opinions or your ideologies, and how I don't believe any of those things have contributed to civilization as we know it in any way whatsoever. Oversimplifying people's positions is, to me, actually sort of a demonstration of not being willing to be much of a critical thinker, or to be a critical thinker in a way that is intentionally trying to be overly simplistic for the purposes of making one's position sound more grand than it really is. And you really do this. You oversimplify the relationship of civilization today as we know it, and its connection with religion, Western civilization, and universities and literature and music, and its clear benefit, the benefit that we have as a civilization because of religion and the value that it placed on literature and the universities and music. Has there been bad things done in the name of religion? Yes, we all agree. So what? There's been bad things done in the name of a lot of things. I think someone who is going to be intellectually honest in my mind is the person who's willing to point out the goods, to acknowledge the bads, and to say, now what? Now what? Not to present some oversimplified picture of history and then say, as you did, I'm not biased. Load of crap. Of course you're biased. Your whole video is just one biased perspective. Who's not biased? I mean, we can strive to not be biased, but even in your video, you clearly weren't striving to not be biased. Oversimplifying people's positions and making religion sound so bad and so wrong was clearly your bias. I'm much more interested in seeing a demonstration of people's thinking that goes on, in people demonstrating the reason and the logic, in demonstrating how it is that they have questioned and how it is that they have arrived at the particular conclusions that they've had, and explaining it in such a way that it demonstrates they've spent time to consider why they are where they're at and the beliefs that they have. I've questioned Lacey endlessly. I've questioned my beliefs more than any atheist will ever be able to question my beliefs. And I remain a Christian. I believe Jesus lived, was crucified, and rose again. And for 5 years that I've been on YouTube as a Christian, I've been more than willing and have have presented countless venues for individuals to engage in conversation with me, individuals of whom by and large I disagree with, because I have no fear of disagreeing with people and engaging in meaningful, courteous dialogue with them. Whether they respect my views or not is irrelevant. I'm more interested in seeing how this idea of reason and thinking and questioning plays out. Whether they respect my religion or not is irrelevant to how they engage in real-time conversation with someone of whom they disagree with. That's far more significant and important to me. Folks, ignorance is a people problem. It's not an atheist-theist one. You can hear two people who have completely opposite views, who will be critical, reasoned, logical, rational thinkers. There are anti-theists on YouTube, people who want to end religion, who believe belief in God is irrational and delusional, and who will present false information. They will present ignorance and bigotry, such as seen in the likes of individuals like Pat Condell and Thunderfoot and Cult of Dusty. they have no problem in pushing forward their ideologies and ridiculing and mocking and insulting the religious. And interestingly enough, they also seem very keen on avoiding conversation with their opponents, of whom the particular, they're very, let's just say they're very particular about whom they're going to talk to, if they're going to talk to anyone at all. Thunderfoot is very particular about which theist he wants to pick out, that of course are going to re-emphasize to his audience his ideology, his perspective that he wants to get across. But will Thunderfoot engage in a conversation with me on Blog TV one-on-one? No. So, critical thinking is, you don't need to be an atheist to get it, okay? Just be a person who's willing to consider the sides, to think about things, to ask why you believe what you do, and figure out why. Ask yourself what it is that you believe. To read philosophy, to study the beliefs that your opponents have, to engage in conversation with some of the best that your opponent has to offer, not the weakest. Not the weakest. I don't want to engage with the weakest that my opponent. I don't want to engage with the unreasoned opponent. I want to engage with the person who's thought through why, and to think and to hear their perspective. And more times than not, it's that individual that actually enriches my own life, because their perspective adds something to my own. Y'all take care, and peace be with you.